السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد. اليوم طبعا برنامج الخاص الوليد وديف. ديف معنا من نيوكاسل. سكوتر ديف today. Welcome سكوتر ديف.
Assalamu alaikum, Alwaleed. Scooter. I recently passed my test for riding scooters, so I've always wanted to ride scooters. But being a person with a disability, it's very hard. But I did it, and I've actually been on the road, and I've thoroughly enjoyed being on my scooter.
Glad you are.
Not one of those electric ones you'd fly around the street on. A proper motor scooter.
Glad you are okay, mate, and you recover from COVID. I know we are a sports show, but unfortunately, we have to cope up with some politics stuff. And speaking of politics, this is just 1 hour ago.
Yeah.
So
yes, he's obviously on a begging mission. He's on a begging mission to Saudi Arabia. He wants Saudi Arabia to
I don't know why it's hanging.
increase oil supplies. You're back. You disappeared.
I get some issue here, but it's okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on a begging mission to Saudi Arabia to ask for more oil, or for Saudi Arabia to start producing more oil. So there's less reliance on the Russians for their oil.
All right.
It's always the same. When there's something in it for him, he'll do. He'll then say please. But if it's nothing for him, he'll not bother.
Okay, Dave. So, all right. Actually, I was meaning something, another thing to talk about, but this will come later. Okay. So, let's start with stealing 3 points. Stealing 3 points from Chelsea. We watched the game, me and the lads. In the temporarily Saudi supporter place, Kaltura Cafe, and we really enjoyed the gathering, but we didn't enjoy the refereeing. Bad referees. What did you see, or what you can say about this game, Dave?
I thought we
played well. It's been stalled by whom?
I think we played very well. I wasn't very hopeful of a good result. I thought we might get beat, but I think we were very resolute. We're strong in defence. Dubravka played well. The back five played well, and like I say, it was actually spoilt by two bad refereeing decisions and one outrageous VAR decision.
He didn't see it, or he ignored it. What do you think it's happened? What happened really?
He seems to think that the Chelsea player actually managed to kick the ball, which is why we got a corner. Why he give a corner? But
he see the corner, but he didn't see the.
But he said
pulling off the shirt.
But he said it was a corner. So where the argument comes about it wasn't a clear and obvious error is totally wrong, because it was a clear and obvious error. It should have been a goal kick, if anything, because the Chelsea player didn't touch the ball. So it should have been a goal kick, not a corner. So he got that wrong. So there's a clear and obvious error, because if he'd done that and then he'd gone back to look at that again, he would have seen that there was a pull on the shirt, that he tripped the player up, and it would have been a penalty. But
VAR people didn't see it or ignore it, or what do you think happened there?
No, he didn't pass it because there was no. What they argued was there was no clear and obvious error, and if it had been identified as a clear and obvious error, then they would have to look at it properly. So and that's what VAR said. VAR said, as far as they were concerned, the referee had given the right decision. But
I remember, Dave. It was much easier, with before VAR. It's famous in Arabic. They said there is 10 mistake. One of the 10 mistake. If happen one of them, it's a penalty. One of them is pulling the shirt. Simple as that. Any pulling of a shirt is a penalty.
But the thing is, Alwaleed, even if VAR hadn't been used at that game, we still wouldn't have got a penalty. The referee didn't say it as a penalty; he gave a corner. We wouldn't have got it either way. We didn't get it via VAR, and we didn't. The referee wasn't going to give it anyway. So that was one of the reasons why they brought VAR in the first place, was to sort those errors out where it should have been a penalty, and where the referee hadn't given it. Now they've changed the rules on VAR in the last season to cover mistakes like this, and I think they made it worse. They've made it worse by doing that. They need to go back to how VAR was done last year, because that would have been checked would have been checked properly for a penalty, and it would have been said that it was an error. And this decision here regarding Dan Burn and Kai Havertz.
Yeah, look to the elbow. The elbow is beyond, higher than the head.
Yeah, you have to use your elbows to get up. When you're jumping for the ball, you have to use your elbows. But the fact was, he was jumping towards Dan Burn with his elbow pointing out. He led with his elbow. That's a clear sending off. He led with his elbow. That's a clear sending off. It's not like when Shearer used to do it, when he used to jump with his elbows up. That is a clear. He was running. If you watch it back, he was jumping not from a standing position. He was jumping from a running position, and therefore he had his elbow out and aimed directly at Dan Burn's head, sending off a fence, no doubt. So, two bad refereeing decisions.
And his elbow not just left up, but also going forward. It should be back of Dan Burn, not at his side.
That's the point I'm making, Alwaleed. He wasn't jumping from a standing start. Hi, Stu.
Hello, Dave. How are you?
Welcome, Stewart.
He wasn't jumping from a standing start. He was moving towards Dan Burn, and then he jumped up with his elbow out. And his elbow was higher than his own head. To hit Dan Burn in the head, it's a straight red card. The referee didn't. It should have been straight away, not yellow, straight red, because that was a dangerous foul.
Welcome, Stewart, to the show. Finally, see you. I would like to ask you about. We watched the game together, and we have a discussion about this refereeing stuff. Would you like to elaborate on this topic we're talking about now?
Well, I'm sure you've covered it all before I come on. The referee is getting the blame, but to me, the VAR is not the VAR itself that's responsible. It's the people operating it. And we've had this discussion time and time again. It's the VAR is there for a reason, and it gives the right call every single time. It's the person's interpretation of it, whether that's the right call or not. But as I understand it, they don't get involved. VAR don't get involved with every decision on the pitch, but the ones in dangerous areas that can affect things they do, such as the incident with Murphy. And you know my opinion, I believe I was sitting next to you, and I was sober. It was great. So, the referee was in a bad line of sight. Now, whether that's bad refereeing or, well, it has to be, isn't it? The way the play was. And if you didn't see it, the VAR is there just to say, hello, excuse me, you need to look at this. You've given a corner, it wasn't a corner, because they can check to see if it was a corner or not. And they can certainly check to see if it was a penalty, because if there's an appeal, it has to be checked. Now, they must know what would come by making such an incorrect decision. So whether they waved it back to them straight away or they just said, no, nothing to see here. And whoever's given that call, because I'm sure if the referee did go at the monitor, he would have no choice but to give a penalty for it. And to give a corner when he didn't kick the ball shows he didn't see it. So that's my thoughts. I think they need to improve the people who are operating it, and whether get some of these old referees in who seem to be touting themselves on TV now, get them in if they love the game that much to monitor it properly and unbiasedly as well.
Stu, do you think is Premier League, isn't they are embarrassed by this?
Sorry, it's breaking up. Bad reception in this hotel, Alwaleed.
Yeah, I mean, aren't they embarrassed, the Premier League, about this kind of refereeing? It's like,
I think they've got thick skin, something like that. I think inwardly they probably quite enjoyed it was given, or not given as it happened. You know, so that's how it is, and we know where we are. We know that everyone's after hating us, so just get on with it.
What do you think, Dave?
You know what, Stu? The other week when the referee decision went against Everton, the referee apologised because it was a clear error. Why has nobody come out and done exactly the same thing? Because
that was against Man City, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've done the same thing here. Is where the referee is given a corner. If anything, it was a goal kick. So you know, but when they got that therefore was the clear and obvious error. So therefore, it should have been gone back and looked at, and the referee should have been made to look at the monitor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Dave. It's who decided it wasn't worth looking at.
Yeah, no,
it's not the VAR. The VAR has actually showed it was a penalty, so it's not the VAR to blame. The person giving the call.
Why hasn't the Referees Association come forward and apologised to us? Why haven't they apologised to Eddie Howe?
I don't know. It'd be interesting. The game this weekend. If he gets a game this weekend, you know that it's just been brushed under the carpet.
Yeah.
But anyway, don't let that spoil what was a very, very good performance.
Exactly. We don't like to talk about the past, but we have, we felt like we are still big, important game, 3 point, and with this relegation battle. Like tomorrow, we have Everton. Maybe a second time in 3 weeks, we'll play with Everton. And it's going to be different, Everton, because now Frank Lampard know much more about the team. We have here their latest result. After we beat them, being beat Man City 1-0. Regardless, the FA Cup, Tottenham 5-0. Everton last game, home in Goodison Park 1-0. So I would like to ask you about. This is the lineup of Everton with us at first game. I think Lampard and Dele Alli and Van de Beek. He played 3-4-2-1. Jordan, Gray, Richarlison at the front, and this is I think 3 or 4 days ago. So no much different. Maybe in the midfield. So Stu, how are you comparing this? Do you think it's going to be different Everton tomorrow?
I don't know. I think they're in free fall, but the importance of this game for tomorrow is the magnitude of it is huge for them. But every game is important for them for the rest of the season, and so is for us, and for very different reasons. Because I think when the takeover happened and then Eddie Howe came in, a lot of players thought, well, that's me finished, you know, and maybe the performances wasn't there because we know the fitness wasn't there. But now they're playing for a different reason. They've shown that they can play in a team that's winning, and they now want part of it because they all know money's going to get spent in the summer. New players are coming in, and they want to be say, I want to be part of this, even if it's only a squad player. I want to be part of this for the next 2 or 3 years, and that's why I don't think our performances will drop. And on recent form, we're superior to Everton, and maybe the pressure might be too much for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that from what I've picked up today, a lot of the Everton supporters and Evertonian press are pushing for is that Dominic Calvert-Lewin should start. So he's probably going to start instead of Dele Alli, I would think. Van der Beek seems to be one of these people that Frank Lampard's pinning his hopes on. So I think the only change I can see would be that Calvert-Lewin will come in, possibly for either Gordon or Damari Gray. But I think Van der Beek will certainly start. I don't think Dele Alli will start. I think Dele Alli will be on the bench. But I think, like I said, Stu, it's a must. It's not even a must-win game for Everton. I think they're a long way off being safe. I think even if they got a result against us, whether it's a draw or if they were lucky enough to get a win, I think they're doomed. I think they've got no heart. And what you said about when Eddie Howe come in, about how players have changed their whole mental attitude towards playing, speaks volumes. Joe Linton, fantastic change around in a player. John Joe Shelby's a reborn. It just so happens those two players are probably going to be missing tomorrow. But saying that, young Longstaff, young Sean, he came in, played the full 90 minutes on Saturday against Chelsea. Played very well by all accounts, and even he has actually raised his game because he knows if he doesn't raise his game, he's going to be out on his ear. Joe Willock did exactly the same. Joe Willock thought, I'm just going to get picked. I'll be picked every week. And then when Bruno came, he knew for a fact he had to pick his game up or he would be out. So it has a positive effect. And I think we've now got a situation where we've got players who are desperate to play for this football team, who are desperate to play for this club, who are desperate to play for us. And that team morale is coming out every time I see them play. You can see that at the end of the games when they come across to the fans, when they walk around to the fans, from their photographs they take in the dressing room. The togetherness is massive. And I think that speaks volumes since Eddie Howe came. Eddie Howe's got to take he's got to take all the plaudits for that.
Do you think the 3-point deduction will happen, Stu?
No, I don't think they will deduct points.
Dave?
Put the Premier League in such a bad light overseas, wouldn't it?
Dave, do you think it will happen?
To me, yeah, it would put the Premier League in a bad position. But I think, to me, if they've got an agreement there, then the Premier League are leaving themselves open to all sorts of claims from teams who might get relegated. What happens if Burnley finish on the same or 1 point behind Everton, and Everton should have been deducted 3 points?
Yeah, exactly.
There'll be hell on. There'll be hell on if that could lead to all sorts of court claims. So
they've got a rule book. They should just apply the rule book. That's what it's there for. These are the rules. Apply them. It took us long to get the rule book approved, didn't it?
Yes, Stu will know that rule book. When it comes to them, the rule book goes out the window, doesn't it?
It does. It seems to be, but they need to be more consistent with it and sure to be it. So if that's the rules, that's the rules. And if there's not, then There's not. It's like you say, there's so much money at play now, isn't it? On who gets relegated. It's massive. It's so important for every club to stay in the Premier League. So these 3 points could be crucial, but that's their concern. That's not ours, because we're looking the other way up.
Yeah.
Rollbook.
Seeing that, like, I'd love to see the Scouts Mackhams get relegated. I'd love to see the Scouts Mackhams get relegated. I can't. I see a name.
Yeah, Rollbook reminds me of did you remind me of the takeover process? Conference, Dave. What's your take on conference of Eddie Howe today?
Very measured. He spoke about the players about how the players are performing. And I know why a lot of people were interested in his conference today as to whether he would actually mention something to do with human rights abuses and all that sort of stuff. But he said exactly what he said, what he gets by. He says, I've got whatever happens on behind the scenes or what happens going on elsewhere has got nothing to do with him. He has his own opinion and he keeps his own opinion. That's fair. And he's got a good relationship with Dad, Amanda, and all the other owners, Jamie and all that. He doesn't need to talk about what's going on in Saudi Arabia. I mean, I have to admit, this is Saudi Arabia's own judicial process, and we shouldn't be getting involved with another country's judicial process. This is not like Ukraine, where you've got Russia bombing and killing innocent civilians. The people who got justice the other day were people who'd actually had been killing innocent people. They'd been caught. They'd owned up to other things, and this is Saudi Arabia's own judicial process. It's not for us to get involved with another country's judicial process. We don't get involved with America. They have executions every year. We don't get involved with that. We don't call their human rights into consideration. Why should we call anybody else? Because it's not our business. It's not our business to get involved with that. And Eddie Howe was right to keep his counsel. His thoughts are his thoughts. It's nobody else's business.
Stewart,
sorry, that's wrong, but that's my opinion. That's his. That's his.
No, that's fine. That's a great. That's a great mate, Stewart. Now is everybody talking in politics? We have here Gary Neville, and I don't know if he just. He's like to taking competitors. He want to take Chelsea down, take Newcastle down, just because miserable Manchester United at the moment. Continue with what Dave says. I reviewed some of the owners of the other teams in Premier League. Precisely, they have a lot from America, a lot of American owner. And as Dave says, they have also rules, and some states they have execution. Nobody asking to be anything regarding them. So I know this is. I just say today, and I hope I was deliver the idea today. George is here. George is there. I felt that we're falling in a trap, media trap. They just media. They have agenda. They just with their just for their benefit and therefore for own goods. They're just making opinion and making a decision for nothing. They want to interfere with the country rules by years. We ruled by this country. Saudis are safest country in the world because this ruled by our religion. So what do you think about all this stuff, and how how you advise Newcastle fans to not fall on on these media traps?
Well, Alwaleed, I've been working 13 hours days since I've got here. Right, 13 hours a day. I'm not going to complain about it because it's been very, very enjoyable. But that question you just asked me was longer than one of Liam Kennedy's answers. And I don't know what the actual question is. It was on for so long. It was great.
Stuart, I think
actually,
where you work, Stu, you work out in the Middle East. You'll understand more about the rules and regulations that people have to abide by. You're in another country, you have to abide by that country's rules and regulations. You have to abide by their laws. And if you don't follow those laws, then you're open to prosecution. No matter what you do, you've got to abide by them. And the people in Saudi who haven't followed the law have been duly processed, and they've had to answer for those crimes. And those crimes carry a maximum sentence in Saudi Arabia of death, as they do in America, as they do in other parts of the world. So why should we, as being Newcastle fans in the UK, get involved with another country's judicial process? It's none of our business. It's none of our business. That's something that has to happen in those countries. Nobody's gone on record to have a go at Wolves or Southampton for the atrocities the Chinese government has inflicted on the Uyghurs. America, they're executing people all the time as well. Let's keep those side of things real. It's not politics. It's people's countries' rules and regulations and laws. It's not politics. It's people. Those countries' own laws. If you fail those laws, then you have to pay the price. I'm sorry that people don't agree with that, and I think like you said, Stuart, you've worked out there for a long time. You know what you can and can't do.
Well, that's it. I mean, don't want to get into political debate. There's pros and cons of everything, like living out here. But the whole idea is you're an invited guest in their country, and these are our rules. We want you. We want your supposed skill or talent or whatever you bring into the country to benefit that country. We're willing to house you. We're willing to let you live and enjoy the everyday life. But you have to abide by these conditions. These are the rules. If you don't play by the rules, then we ask you to leave. You're here as a guest, and you know that you're a guest, but you're a welcome guest. And that's the difference. And if people misbehave, they know what happens, and there's different punishments, and that's it. They go. But regarding the executions, I don't want to. It's like try and justify saying that there's executions in that country, in that country, in that country. There's executions in many countries around the world. But we can see America, there's American owners, China, etc. But we are owned by the PIF, which is a public investment fund, which works on behalf of the Saudi government. So that's why it's more scrutiny. Sometimes we can get the tin hats on, and sometimes we can get a bit paranoid. But there's reasons for. I just want to say about the executions. I'm in Riyadh now. I'm here working this week, and I've been made to feel very welcome. I've seen the changes, immense changes, even from last year when I was here. I was here twice last year, but the changes in a matter of months, the improvements are immense. But in my opinion, executions aren't the way forward. It's barbaric. It shouldn't happen, but that is the rules of that country. And if the people don't like it, then they don't live it. And it's wrong, in my opinion. But this is, who are we? We're not the moral arbiters. We're football supporters. And again, I don't want to try and weaken it or lighten it a bit or justify it in any shape or form. In my opinion, it's wrong. But that's what happens. And we go to watch a game of football. We want to have the best chance of winning, and we have the owners who back us. And we have that. And that's what we should be talking about. And you make satire from it. One second over, you make satire from it and say, anyhow, should we with Boris Johnson doing all this, that, and the other? But that's just being paranoid. The more we bite, the more likes they get, the more, the more views they get. So they do it for a reason. The journalists these days aren't proper journalists. They copy paste people and scandal mongers. That's what they are. There's very few quality journalists out there. Maybe it's just not their fault. They have to live their life. And if they have to provide a living and that's what they have to do, then it's they have to be regulated better, not us. So we support Newcastle United, and we're delighted that we've got owners who want to invest in us, and we've seen the improvements.
Stewart, let's leave. Okay, I will try to make it short to really make it clear question. Regardless, it's not about the execution or rules. I mean, it's always something different that we have to do. They ask Saudi to do something or change their rules. It's always something. We didn't ask UK to become like Saudi Arabia, so I don't know why. For example, UK or other countries, why they want us to be like them and doing the same attitude, same.
Or British thing, should I say? It's everyone should speak English everywhere they go, and it's not for us to judge. It's just football banter on the terraces as it used to be, but it's just amplified a lot more because of social media, and more people become aware of it. We support Newcastle. It doesn't mean we agree with what happens in that country or many other countries. Like I say, I'm here in Saudi Arabia, and it's an amazing place, and I'd encourage anyone to come and visit. It's fantastic. The people are kind, they're considerate, but most of all, you're safe. That's the key. You can save, you can enjoy a nice quality life, come and have a nice relaxing holiday, learn a different culture, try and understand a bit more about it. But you have people who hypocritically will take money off the same people that they're accusing, as in to work for them. So it is fair. It's sad, I mean, I won't even give them credit. There was one journalist that put a picture of a starving child. That could have been in any war-torn place in the world. But what's that going to do with anyhow? You might as well say, well, you all put petrol in your car, so you're all hypocrites. As Alwaleed just said, that's what happens in that country. And the improvements I've seen in under 10 years, it's taken our supposed civilized Western world. It's taken them generations, over 100 years to achieve what Saudi Arabia has achieved in 10 years. And that's it. You can't keep judging people by the past. We are improving. We should be improving. And if people are trying to improve, that should be recognized. But again, do never, ever justify the bits you disagree with. But sometimes bad news is better than good news. Yeah. And, they should be saying, thanking them for improvement and wanting to improve. It's a new culture. It's a different religion and everything. You can't have, use a Leeds fan or Sheffield Wednesday fan or a Liverpool fan. When they say to us, "Oh, this is what happens," it's just a way of saying it's football banter. But then people take it too serious, and then you get people who then mention things to get likes on it. Like the certain supposed journalists do, to get the clicks, to get the attention, and it's a sad world that we live in. But we're football fans. We're not there to judge other people, this, that, and the other. So we'll get on to just to warn both of you, it's not going to go away.
No, it's not.
It's not. Yes, exactly. It's always something. Yeah. For example, Saudi Arabia rules doesn't have anything with gambling. Gambling are forbidden here, but that didn't prevent us from investment in Newcastle, and we are proud and wearing the Newcastle shirt. And for example, it's a gambling company, but we respect the rules there, so it doesn't matter. So this is what should really have. We're not going far from this topic.
No.
It's important. A lot of Chelsea fans, Saudi Arabia as well. We would like to talk, if you don't mind, about Chelsea. What happened to Roman Abramovich from your UK or United Kingdom citizen of a view? What what happened or why the club taking from Abramovich, who stays almost 20 years, and I don't know what happened. What the relation, if you can tell us about the owner and Russia, for example.
Wait, Alwaleed, last week, remember I told you last week, and you were saying Norway, he's Abramovich owns Chelsea, and I said he said he'd given Chelsea the running of Chelsea to a champion, to a charity, and I said, separated at birth, Stu.
Aye, and all the compliments.
But I'd said that if he gets sanctioned, he will not be allowed to sell that football club, and that's exactly what's happened. He cannot make a profit from that football club.
Yeah, because he is?
Because he's a Russian oligarch, and he made his money from the benefits of the Russian government and by Putin. Putin gave him the contracts for him to make the money. So that's where he made the money from when Putin first came in. And he then obviously invested that money in buying Chelsea. That was like money laundering. That was like, and how he did it was by coming to the UK and buying property in the UK. So therefore it was sports washing.
Okay, how it's gonna quiet in 19 years?
Well, let me know it. It's like asking Siri, please show me irony. We have this conversation because all three of us have just complained or commented or talked about or give reason for why are people attacking us? Why? Let them look after their own business. Stop getting involved in Newcastle. Stop putting Newcastle down. Yeah. Now you want us to talk about what's happening at Chelsea or what's happening in Russia or what's happening in, it's beyond our control. We can't complain about people talking about us if we're going to talk about other people. So let the FA do their job. I keep saying they've got rule books and we can get in the slang and matches against them. It doesn't do anyone any good whatsoever. They'll do what they do, and we'll know what they've done wrong. And so will the rest of the country, so will football fans worldwide. They'll know if they've made a decision is the size of these decisions that they could have to make over the next couple of months. Then we'll see the integrity of the Premier League and what they value more than anything else. And it's not sport, it's not football, it's money. So you'll see these decisions will be judged by money, and they'll do a profit and loss. We're going to lose money either way. Which one will lose us the most? Okay, we'll do the other one, and that's what's running our.
For many years, always FIFA says politics different than separate. Politics and policy. Sorry, politics and sport, they are separate, but it doesn't look like that now.
No, Alwaleed, it's funny. There's that many people now that are experts on what happens in the Middle East, but they've never been here. They've probably been to Benidorm for a holiday. They've never actually experienced it, but they've read a couple of articles now. Now they're experts on it. Now, I'm not an expert, and I've lived over here.
No, just opinions. Nothing else.
I'm here, and I can explain what it's like to be in the Middle East, but I can't tell you what it's like to be in Ukraine. It's and why should we use Chelsea for that? If we're complaining what's happening in Saudi Arabia shouldn't be said about Newcastle, we shouldn't be mentioning anything about Chelsea. Let them get on with it. It's their mess. We've had enough mess. There's some supporters who love our club have only seen MS and they still love them, still love that club. Imagine, if you started to support Newcastle the last 5-10 years, and all you knew was Mike Ashley refusing to spend more than what come in, and you see the gradual decline. It's been decaying. The whole club, not just the first 11, the whole club. And that's when you get to the stage when people celebrate them cleaning windows. The fans care about the club so much, and that's why we get defensive about, oh, look what this person said, this person said. They've done it for baits, they've done it for legs, they've done it to get attention. Great. Maybe they're bullied at school, maybe they want to be closer to the mother again, I don't know. But let them get on with it. Look what we've got to look forward to. Why do we have to get dragged into what's happening, whether it's Everton, whether it's Chelsea, whether it's Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Burnley? It makes no difference, because we've got owners and we've got a manager that are in this and are capable of taking us further than a lot of people who support this club have ever seen. And I mean a lot of people. I would say about 75% of our fan base haven't seen us win anything. Maybe he's even higher than 75%. So this now, the whole region feels better. When I say region, I mean Tyneside. It feels better. You know, people are smiling more, and that's because of those people who pull on those black and white strips on Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, or Sunday, and that's it. Yeah. But where we're going now, I'm not bothered what happens with Chelsea, because what'll be, and they'll never have what they've had before, where someone's willing to lend them all that money and write it off, effectively write it off. They'll never get that again. They're in for a massive reality check. They'll have to do a fire sale of all the players they've got. Great. We might benefit from it. They'll not be as rich as us. No other football club will be as wealthy as us, ever. So we've got all this to look forward to. We've got mass potential where we can watch them, whether it's from afar or at the match, at Wembley, stand on the terraces or stand outside because you can't get in. You know, because we're not going to sit if we got the terrace, if we get to Wembley, are we? Everyone will just stand for the duration of the game.
Yeah,
we've got all this to look forward to, not just once. You know, I don't think we'll ever just get the World Cup final now. It'll become more regular than we've ever seen it. You know, we'll get silverware, we'll get the global recognition, because that's what drives the owners. But it's what we're prepared to do for them, and then we've got people who are prepared to do something for us. So we complain, people complain about us. Don't complain about anyone else. Let Chelsea just go their way, and we'll go our own merry way. I know who I'd rather be supporting over the next 5 and 10 years.
Yeah, totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I think it's just like you say, that the national media always, for some reason now, always want to treat Newcastle as the moral arbiters of football. You know, I don't know why, but yeah, we have to move on from that. We have to accept that.
But we don't have to like what's happening or try and justify or brush it under the carpet. You know, but as you said, with football, we move on.
Yeah, we hear you, Stewart.
Yeah, I just said we're about football, but we can't affect what happens in other places, and it's not our decision. We're here to support Newcastle United, and a lot of this comes out of jealousy, you know, and either ignore it, smile it, block it, just don't listen to it, because it's going to keep coming and keep coming to the point it'll get really worse. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It'll get really worse when we do start challenging the top end, and we do start winning a trophy or two, and then it'll take a sustained period of success for it to die off, because there's other clubs haven't had the same intensity as I have. That should give us a siege mentality. That should make us even stronger. And that's it. We're Newcastle United, and we'll never be defeated. And exactly. So much to look forward to. Let Chelsea get on with it. Let Leeds get on with it.
Last point.
Hang on. I drove past St James's last night. You know, I was going down taking my daughter to see Stormzy last night down to the arena, and I drove past St James's last night, and I tell you what lifted my heart was to see that name on that bar.
Oh yeah. Don't rush things, Dave. We have a whole topic about it now. Just quickly, I've been asked this a lot, so I prefer to answer it live. I will gonna say my opinion, and maybe we'll see Stu and Dave if they have a comment. I received this question: is gonna be Chelsea gonna taken by the Saudi company, which is Media Group, الوسائل السعودية. Of course, there is a bit, but personally, and this is just my opinion, though, I don't think this is will happen, and maybe this is just for other, and this is my opinion, nothing else. Maybe just maybe advertising, maybe trying, maybe they will succeed, but for me, I don't think so, for many reasons. يعني see Newcastle take 2 years from Premier League. Do you think now they will take Chelsea from or Chelsea and try and help another Saudi part to take the club? So no. So this is my opinion and about it. Any take on that, Stu?
Yes and no. Again, for the same reasons, it shouldn't affect us on what's happening. Whether it is going to be the Saudi media group, let's say it is. Look at their wealth and their capability, and money that is side to this. Chelsea themselves had a fantastic time. We're going to have the best one, and I'm not really unduly worried about what's going on there, because I'm sure whatever it is, it's not going to improve them, and that's going to benefit Newcastle United. So, why can't we be going past them, the likes of them at Manchester United, Tottenham? Why can't we go past them? We'll soon overtake Arsenal. Then we're at the top two. You've got your Man City and your Liverpool. We could be challenging them. And I said on another show a few months ago, when things weren't as rosy as they are now, I don't think they're going to wait 3 to 5 years to start challenging us, as if they'll do enough to stay up. They'll give us money to stay up. They've put enough trust and faith in Eddie Howe, and he's repaying it in bundles. And it just shows hard work pays off. So they'll spend more money again. And is that going to benefit us as Newcastle fans? Fantastic. So they'll spend more than Chelsea will this summer, which means we'll improve. You don't have to spend money to improve. Everton's the best example of that. Yeah. But we will spend it the right way. We've already shown that. We've got people who see it as a care of duty, and they're beginning to, if they don't already, love the club. It's a horrible thing to love. It has been all our lives. But once you get a taste of it, you can't stop loving it. And these are the people who are loving it now, who can actually improve it. How good is that? How good is that? So we're going to improve. Chelsea, of course, they're going to slip down. But imagine we'd even had a quarter of what their fans have had over the last 20 years. Even a 20th of it would love it. Just a one trophy, wouldn't have, in the last 20 years.
You think on that, Stu, then, we need a stadium twice as big as what we've got now to house those people who would want to come and watch Newcastle. If we'd had a fifth of what Chelsea have actually achieved,
Yeah.
You couldn't. There wouldn't be a ground big enough to hold the people who want to come and see Newcastle.
But we're not that size yet. I'm sure one of the others said it. It may have been Murdoch that said, that see it as their own home. It's the heart of the city. They don't want to move. They don't plan to move. They plan to extend it. And I think that's sensible, because it keeps the fans on side, because there will be those against it. They call them traditionalists or whatever. They'll still be against the move. But if we do increase to say 60,000, and the success is consistent, then of course there'll be a higher demand. What I don't foresee doing is someone unveiling a 100,000 seat stadium, because today with the potential we could fill it. Because what happens if things don't turn out as good? Because those size stadiums aren't free. They cost a lot of money. So everything will be balanced out properly, and we'll move in the right direction at the right time. And it's such an exciting time to be supporting Newcastle United. And that's what I said to you when I rang you last week about the birth of Hyatt. It's what it's like to be born for her. And if it does decide to follow her father and follow Newcastle United, then all she's going to know is, hopefully, is a sustained period of success, just like what Chelsea have just had. And their fans, they've got proper fans like we've got proper fans, but they won't need a 60,000 stadium in a few years' time. So if football can change quick, you've got to put things in place that's going to last, like how Manchester City have done it. And we'll follow that model, and hopefully we'll be able to expedite the process and catch them up a lot quicker. And I'm looking forward to it. So the more clubs that aren't in the same or a good financial footing, the better it is for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dave, any comment about it? regarding the owners of Chelsea, the new owners, possible
Like
owners?
Stu says, I'm not that bothered. I think it'll end up in I think it'll end up being owned by Americans. What I'd like to see, if the Saudi media group have got any real potential or desire, let them come on board with us. Let them join with the PIF. Let's make it.
What do you think? What do you think the fans? Last question. What do you think of the fan of Chelsea would like to choose the American or the Saudis, for example?
Not bothered. Not bothered. Not bothered.
No, what do you expect?
Chelsea, I think what they'll go for anybody who will give them the same, who will talk about giving them the same level of success what they've had over the past 20 years. Whether that'll ever come to fruition, I don't think it will. And I think they'll get what they'll get. And whether it's American, whether it's Saudi, or whether it's Malaysian, I'm not bothered.
Okay. We have still a few minutes. We still have 2 or 3 topics. Alan Shearer bar. So finally, this has happened. I like about the new owners. They walk the talk on every subject in the air, because a lot of topics they talk. People talking about topics and they're still talking, but this is really do the talking. Yeah, what do you think, Stewart?
It's like, well, it's just to steal a phrase that Mitch uses often. It's an easy win. It is Shearer's bar. Some people still call it that even throughout the spell. It was 9 bar. And you pick up an easy win like that. It was due to the previous chairman. Then didn't want to really honour someone who had the goal to tell the truth. So that to me was a simple win. Along with cleaning the windows and stuff like that. And so it's quite easy to do, and I'm just happy that they're doing it, and we should just be happy and enjoying it.
Yeah, we should describe that as low hanging fruit in the revenue. We used to always go after all the easy jobs that we got easy money from. So low hanging fruit, things like moving the statue, changing the name back, the Shearers, cleaning the windows,
No, Dave, we've called it an easy win, both of us, right? And it is an easy win, but it's only an easy win if you know how it's going to be a win. And that's because they listen. They're listening to the fans and they're thinking, okay, this will please people. But how would you know unless you actually go and listen? And what we had previously is people who decided what the other person was thinking before even asking them.
Yeah.
So we've got owners who listen, and it might be an easy win, but it pleases the fan base. Every fan's happy it's called Shearers again, unless someone got a tattoo of 9 on the 9 bar on their arm. Everyone should be happy it's Shearers. He deserves the recognition.
Actually, I like really when I was in Newcastle, a lot of places I like, but the most 2 places I've been there and calling. If I will meet someone to meet me at. Alan Shearer bar and also the Strawberries, and those 2 places really I like them very much. Dave, your take on that?
Yeah, like I said last night, I was driving past last night on the way to drop my daughter off at the arena, and I come past that, and I'd heard that they were changing the name. I hadn't seen it actually done it. But when I came past and I seen it, I round the window down, I was shouting, Shearers, Shearers, just because it means so much to the people around Newcastle. Just to see something as simple as that, it's another aspect of the Ashley era which is gone. Ashley got himself in the hoof with Alan Shearer. It's now gone. Shearers is back. The statue will be moved. We'll see statues, hopefully, of Keegan and Joe Harvey. We'll see those come to fruition. That's just, it's easy stuff, but you've got people in charge who are listening, like Stu says, who are listening to the people around them. and it is easy. The harder stuff will take years to get, but if it can give Newcastle supporters the odd little snippet here and there, you'll keep them on side. You'll keep them ticking along until those big things happen. We've seen
no matter how old you are or how old anyone is, and I did it when I went home at Christmas, and I'm over next month for a couple of games as well, where you're walking up to the ground, and as you get closer, naturally you start walking that little bit quicker, you know, and it's you do it without even thinking. It's a natural process. It's in your blood, you know. Your legs are telling you you've got to get there faster. The time doesn't move, but you have to get there closer to just the face, that simple, like
just to be there.
The atmosphere. And you walk that bit quicker as the closer you get to the ground, and that springs back in people's steps, because I know for the last few visits prior to the one at Christmas, the ones I got back for pre-COVID, you know, you could see people going out of duty, they're just trudging to go to the ground, and they're doing it because they're getting out, they're meeting the mates, and the football was just part of the day. Now football is the day, and people are going for just the football, and everything else is a bonus, and it's, you can't help it, and it might sound selfish, but it grabs you by the heart, and it never lets go. You'll never stop being a Newcastle supporter. So, isn't it fantastic, man?
Yeah, it's Alwaleed's friend Abdurrahman. He came to Newcastle for the Brighton game, and even he now talks about Newcastle being his home. You know, he's been to one football match. He went to the Southampton game. You know, and he now looks at Newcastle as being his home. Yet he's travelled from Jeddah. I think he's from Jeddah, isn't he, Alwaleed? He's come from Jeddah. But
no, he's many players, but he's in Riyadh. I met him in Riyadh, but
yeah, but he loves Newcastle. He's now been bitten by the bug. You know, he loves Newcastle, so he's going to want to come to Newcastle as many times as he possibly can in the future. That is how we have effect. We have an effect. How the club has an effect on you and your emotions. You know, I'm 59. I've probably got 20, 30 years to go before I cast off this mortal coil. But I'm expecting to be Premier League champions in the next 30 years. If
sure,
not,
of course, hopefully, yes.
Not multiple times. But I've been waiting for
that. That's what's going to happen, Dave. Regardless, and hopefully Newcastle will win tomorrow. But regardless, Newcastle will go to Dubai. So, Stu, what's you can tell us about it?
Well, they live there long enough, but if you look at, I think Eddie Howe mentioned his press conference today as well. You know how it's how the club, how the team, how the players have individually and collectively benefited from it. And look at results since we were in Saudi Arabia, and just prior to that, you know, the win at Leeds, which really started getting people believing that we've got a chance of staying up. We will be staying up. You know, it's we can do this. We can do this, rather than we hope or nah. It started off we're down, and now to the point people aren't even thinking about getting relegated. And this is where I love that you see the names getting dropped here and everywhere who Newcastle linked with, but we're not big news though. You know, the Newcastle linked with everybody. You know, they've got about 12 teams a day, the amount of people they link with. But how nice is that? That's happening in Newcastle. But they keep wanting to say we're a little club, but keep talking about us. So let's create all the press the right way from a club, the way to conduct themselves the right way, just as Eddie Howe does these press conferences, you know, and the way the players are behaving and performing. You know, you don't say our players and hopefully it's not a kiss of death or anything, but you don't see our players getting dragged into the turmoil that other clubs are doing, you know, and you start to believe that they understand the city. And none of them want to leave. You know, none of these players want to leave. You know, the place that no one should come and visit, and they should take less money to play for Brentford and that. You know, these players don't want to leave, and as I touched on earlier, they're fighting for their future because they want to be part of this future. And if you wrote a list of 5 players who we're going to get rid of when Eddie Howe took over, Joe Linton definitely would have been on 90% of people's 5 at that time. You know, so, and I've commented previously, the transformation in him, I've never seen in a player. The only one I can think of from Newcastle had been Steve Howe, who was an average at best centre forward, got turned into an international centre half. But even then, I still think from some of the performances that Joe Elton had been putting in, or not putting in, which was what was getting the ire of a lot of fans, it was the look like he wasn't bothered. He's turned into some sort of superhuman man of steel, isn't he? He's, you know, the players are bouncing off him. He's looking stronger. He's fitter. He's using the ball intelligently. He doesn't mind getting stuck in. And I know I've mentioned before, the transformation in him has saved us 40 million quid having to buy a centre midfielder or another midfielder anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's amazing. So that's just saved us some money. So if he can do it, other players are sort of, hang on. If he's making it, if they had a mental list in their own head of like, well, they'll get rid of like 5, I'm not in that 5. Oh, hang on, look at him. I'm closer to that 5. And it's raised the everyone game. And the ones that you thought at the start might not make it, Joe Elton's the perfect proof. You can. If you've got the ability and if you've got the aptitude and the effort, and he's been doing the last 2, and we're now all saying he's got the first one. And it's amazing. So he saved us money. But the rest of the players, the Shelby's, look at how he's turned himself down. Joe Willock, you touched on it before, Dave. Yeah. You know, I'm the most expensive player I'm always going to get in the team. And he made, and I'm sure he has had some teething issues, shall we say, moving from London. You know, but he is now playing like the player we bought, and he's showing the potential. You know, and you start thinking, you see in the last few games, he's still running at the end. Mm-hmm. You know, and in he didn't have his best game, I think it was against Southampton, but he made a great block at the 94th minute.
Yeah, right.
You know, and if he's the attack midfielder, he's got the legs. If that was the best thing he's done, he's saved us. He's gained us 2 points because that would have been a draw then.
Yeah.
You know, and the way he's run about, so the midfield's improved immensely. The improvement in Shaw. So all the, you know, Kraft, you know, all these players that have been getting criticised, and now all of a sudden we all love Manquillo. You know, he should be in the team. He's fantastic. You know, but they're all showing
exactly, yeah.
You know, they've all shown they've got the ability. So this is what I said before. As a club, we're going to benefit the rest of the season because they're all now jostling for position. Right, the club's not going to be stupid and buy something like 12 players or anything like that. They don't need to. But they know there's going to be improvements, and they know they've got people who are surplus to requirements. And we're an attractive proposition. Why would you want to leave an attractive proposition where your family's lived for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 years? Mm-hmm. You don't. You'll be known as the person that when Newcastle got good, you had to leave, rather than Newcastle got good and you're still there. Now their personal pride's getting questioned, Alwaleed, and that's why you're seeing improvement in the performances. They've all got something to play for. They all want to be part of what we're part of. Because whether they stay or go, they'll still follow Newcastle again.
Brilliant, mate. Dave, what's your expectation and thoughts for Dubai camp trip?
If they get the same performances following Dubai camp as they got from the Jeddah camp, I think can only be good for us. The only thing, Alwaleed, is, are you going to be there? Are you going to get a flight across to be in Dubai and meet the players up the plane? Or are you going to stay at home and look after that baby? You know what I mean? knowing you, I think you'd be getting on a plane and heading to Dubai. But no, I totally agree with what Stu said. Since we went to Saudi, a lot of the players have actually picked up their game. They're different players. They can see by going to Jeddah, they can see what our football club is going to be. Warm weather training camps in Saudi, in Dubai, not in Malaga, not in Ireland, you know, in Saudi, in Dubai. This club means business, and they can see that. And whether that's footballers, like most people from the UK, they come from a very, very rough and deprived backgrounds. So
Dave, we've seen it, man, over the years. If you look at it, we've had to watch like the pre-season like camps and stuff like that. When the teams we've had to watch with envy and jealousy of other teams flying to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, you know, and it's been, oh, look at them, and you know what we're doing? We're going to Ireland, or we're going to Yorkshire, or we're going to Austria. You know, all nice in their own way, but it hasn't got the elegance of going to Saudi Arabia or we're going to Dubai. You know, and the warm weather training and the collectiveness that the teams had and the improvement they've got, it shows it's worth it. And lived in Dubai for a long time, as you know, so you know they'll love the area. It's hot. You can't visit Dubai and not like it. So at the end of the day, it's going to benefit them, and it's like a reward for them. And I think they've run themselves silly. They deserve it. Yeah. So let them get a picture on the back.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Thank you, Stewart Binman. Thank you, Dave Havry. Thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully to see you next week. طبعا كان معنا من نيوكاسل طبعا ستيوارت بنمان وديف هافري في الوليد and Dave show, and our guest today, or our friend Stewart Binman was on board. Thank you for participation. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Good night.
See you guys. See you, Stu.